We're moving forward and we're looking at being successful this year.
Can I just move it on to another tack, Alan? I'm just assuming, say, Widnes do get into Super League. Now, Widnes is not a very big town, population-wise. It's not a very big town, sort of major sponsorship-wise, Steve. What do you intend doing? Are you geared up with your marketing to move Widnes or move your spectator base outside Widnes? You know, touching down to that North Wales area, even touching Merseyside.
Yeah, well, certainly. I mean, we see Merseyside, we see going into South Cheshire, the Wirral, North Wales. We definitely see those areas as areas we want to develop. But I don't think we should underestimate. There's an awful lot we can still do in Halton, in Widnes and Runcorn. There's an awful lot of people who would come for Super League. You know, that's what they tell me. They'll come for Super League and they'll come and watch Widnes lads. So we're hoping to try and give them both.
Well, we touched on the business of sponsorship with Julie Gaskell, the chief executive, last week. This is what she had to say about it.
Got a shirt that's full of top brand sponsors. You know, I mean, Stobar are a national brand that are sponsoring, that are bang on our shirts. Land Rover, Rally, Personal Injury. We've got some different sponsors. We've moved away from some of the old ones, and we've worked hard on that. We entertain 60 local businesses in the stadium, and we're starting a business club to re-engage business people, because it's easy to talk about your fans and constantly harp on about season ticket holders and which are our lifeblood. But we need to. I mean, I think there is some complacency, thinking, well, Steve O'Connor's tipping the money in and we're okay, you know, we'll just stay out of it. And we've got some fantastic support and some businesses that want to come back on board. So we've got a full shirt, and I'm determined to make sure that we're well supported financially. And we're also thinking about, I mean, I'm really into the kind of whole heart and mind of this game, and I want to engage a bit of fun as well. I don't want to sit there on a cold day in Keighley thinking, where do I go and buy a pie? I've only been to a few games, but you learn good practices from all of them.
But it was an interesting appointment for Paul Cullen as director of rugby, Steve. How did that come about?
Some chairmen in the sport are very knowledgeable about the sport. And I don't purport to be. I mean, I don't know my history. You know, I like to think I can influence some of the future, but I don't know my history in the sport. And I think it's important that the actual rugby side of the club, that there is a constant there. You know, with the greatest respect, we're going to have different coaches, we're going to have lots of different players over a number of years, and we need a stable management team ahead of that to make sure that, with the greatest respect, I don't think the fans want me picking a team. I don't think I haven't got the knowledge there to know. You know, there are one or two chairmen in our league who actually do that. But no, I'm keen that we. You know, I think Paul has got the right values. He handles himself very well. I think he's an asset to the club, and I think what we want is a consistency right through all the pathways, all the coaches, and make sure we're all doing this. We're all doing the same thing, so that we give the head coach of the first team the best possible. We give them the best possible players coming through our systems. And
it strikes me, Dennis, that the team off the field is as strong as it can get in terms of experience. There's some caps, there's some games amongst you.
Well, it's one of the things that attracted me to joining Widnes as well. Like Steve talks about the values and the principles of the place, knowing the people that are there, knowing, again, coming back to that really tough thing of hard work. There was people there that had great values. There's a team there that wants to work and wants to be successful. And it was exciting for me to be invited by these people to speak to them and then to be asked to be their coach of that team.
You're at Gloucester Rugby Union.
I was, yes. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I've never seen them play. How are they? They're a good team.
They're a great team. When I was there, they was.
So did you get the question at your interview, and Steve will vouch for this, what can you bring from rugby union into rugby league?
There's lots of... It's a very, very professional sport. It's a very, very well organised. They practice best practice. They're trying to strive for greatness all the time. They're working really hard to develop their own players. They're working really hard to actually become better. And there's lots of things you can sit down and you can talk about rugby union and say that there's inadequacies there, and the game does this and the game does that, and how the rules make it such a mess. But it's a great game, and it's a professional game, and it's played by professional people. And I think when you look at it from that side of it, you see that values and principles and teamwork are very, very important.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, Terry, and leaving Dennis aside for a second, how difficult will it be for Paul to not lay off, but, you know, not have a hand in what he does, Dennis does, selecting his side, coaching his side. The same could be said of you. I mean, what Dennis picks a side, you have your own opinions, and are those opinions given to Dennis and saying, well, player A, I wouldn't have played him, or I would have played player B. How difficult is it to do the jobs you're going to be doing, yourself and Paul, and yet stay away from Dennis while he does what he does best?
That's not been my job, and never has been my job to pick a side or to discard players or bring players in. And there's players that you talk to, and when I finished playing in 2006, I had a real horror about the players that had played with at Wigan, at Widnes, at Salford, that had not done anything outside of the game, and all of a sudden they're in a place that's not the best mentally for them, and replacing that euphoria of playing for that they can't do anything, they struggle. So I've always been very much an advocate of player welfare, and I tried to set something up in 2007 with the RFL. I went to them on a number of occasions talking about it. So it's easy for me not to get involved because I never wanted to coach, never ever wanted to coach. What I want to do is get youngsters and teach them and give them. You talk about player pathways in the game, but there's player pathways, there's entry strategies and exit strategies from the game.
What does that mean, by the way?
We've done a great job, Alan. I'm not taking credit, and I'm sure the club's not, but collectively as a management side, we've done a great job to parents, getting players in, and some of these 18s and 16s that we did manage to sign, we had to do a number on them, the parents, that they didn't go to St Helens, they didn't go to Wigan, they didn't want them to go to Warrington, because all I ever talked about was about, I'm more concerned with what the player does off the pitch, that I don't want an idiot who's going to get in trouble and cause me grief. What I want is someone who's educated, who looks after his time away from rugby and use it to the best of his advantage. Now, there's more to life than rugby. Now, at the end of the day, his career could finish tomorrow. His contract may not get renewed. So you want a balanced individual off the park. And if you have a balanced individual off the park, there will be a winner on the park.
Let me bring Dennis back in on this one when Alan posed the question about will you get pulled one way or the other, and what's the arrangement and understanding between people in the club?
Well, I can say to Alan and everybody here as well, and nobody ever achieves anything on their own, and I'm not a fool to think that. There's a wealth of experience around me. There's a wealth of experience in that league, and there's also some great players and great management. Like, I'm not going to achieve anything on my own. This is going to be a team effort, and I will be drawing on those people's experience, as I have done throughout my career when I played and when I've been coaching. So it's not about I'm in my box and I'm doing my job. Paul's there to help me, I'm there to help Paul. Terry's there to help me, I'm there to help Terry. The same from Julie, the same from Steve. We're in this together. All right, I get to pick the side, but I will be drawing on their experience to do that.
Better mention Mick Cassidy, haven't we? Otherwise, he'll be on to me.
Mick Cassidy,
I'm telling you,
Mick's experience as well. Yeah,
I think Ray was saying before about you look at the people who are involved at the club, and I've played with Dennis, I've played with Mick, and know exactly what type of characters they are. And I'm not trying to embarrass the lad here, but when I went to Wigan from Salford back at the end of 1993. That I was just a youngster from Widnes who they weren't interested in me when I was a youngster, and all of a sudden Wigan have come in for me, and Dennis taught me everything that there was about rugby league to know, that the sacrifices, the hard work, the fighting on the park, to be the best that you can be no matter how many times you get knocked down. And I'll hold my hands up, I was absolutely rubbish, me as a player, but what I had a great work ethic, and I always took every day as it came, and no one was ever going to take that away.
I have to agree with you there, Tez, as well.
Well, who gave it to you then? I mean,
I was very fortunate as well. Like I said, nobody achieves anything on their own. I was fortunate. I came to a side that had Andy Goodway in it, and he was a mentor to me, and not a lot of people liked him because it came across as arrogance, but what it was it was a great self-belief and a work ethic that drove him on, and maybe because he was a Yorkshireman as well, that sort of had a little bit of an edge to it. But his work ethic, his drive, he put me on the straight and narrow. He says, you'll not get anything for free, you'll need to work hard, this is a tough game, do this right and you will get a chance, and it will only be a chance. It's not guaranteeing anything. It will be a chance, but you won't get that chance if you're not in this situation.
Are you a little concerned, you guys? It just crossed my mind. You are highly successful rugby league players in your days. Mick Cassidy as well, Paul Cullen in his day. Is it possible that youngsters with a bit of talent could be overawed by your track record?
Not at all, because I don't think they will be, because what we like off the park, we're very approachable people, and We've never had any airs or graces about where we've gotten. At the end of the day, we were very fortunate to get paid for a job that we love doing, and if we didn't play professionally, well, I would have still been playing amateur.
I think all that's been said recently. You mentioned this point about Paul Cullen's job, criteria, and Dennis's, and everybody's at the club, Terry's, and so on. I think you've answered it all, because you can see that the modern coach has so much to do on the pitch now and off the pitch and the training. It's not the coach who arrived on a Tuesday and a Thursday night, who took his kit off, he trained with the players, he picked the team on Thursday night with the board, and then he went home and he came back again on Saturday. That's gone. The coach is a full-time job on its own. So you do need a director of rugby like Paul Cullen. You do need somebody now like Terry. You do need somebody else like Mick Cassidy and a chairman like Steve. It's a totally different game with totally different jobs now.
Steve, I remember talking to you. We spent a good half hour in one of those boxes at the Stobart Stadium in Halton as to why you got involved in rugby league. Now, let's take it on a few more years. And what is it that drives you on and wants you to do it?
My school motto was perseverance. And we talk about everybody, you keep going, you don't give up. And really, I sort of felt there was a job to do. My role was to try and teach a starving man to fish. And in order to do that, I needed to deliver the club into Super League, so that the belief, the fans, the sustainable future, and maybe I thought then 3 years would get us to Super League, and then I could hand it over to somebody and they might move forward with it. But I'm really, really excited about being around, having these 3 or 4 lads around us who are very, they're notorious throughout the sport. They're winners. And we absolutely intend to go into this competition and compete.
Well, I know that great detail has been paid across the board for Widnes Vikings from you and your team. Julie, as I said last week, appearing on the programme as the chief exec, and she is, was also at pains to stress how Widnes wants to be part of the area it's serving.
What we've said to businesses is if you become a stakeholder in our club, so if you support one of our players, if you sponsor one of our positions, if you buy a signboard, then what we want to do in return is get you invited to the stadium 12 times a year to listen to things that are relevant to your business. And again, we'll use our sponsors to do this. Sponsors, everything's a business transaction. With sponsorship, it's not because they're a fan or because the chairman likes it. Sponsors want something back. So a lot of our local business people will be interested in procuring with the council. They'll be interested in knowing how to speak to the relevant people in Stobart. There'll be forklift truck kind of manufacturers that want to. So what we want to do is listen to them. There'll be things about pensions that small business in Widnes wouldn't normally get proper advice on. So we'll use our lawyers to do that. So it's all about being a bit creative and being innovative and giving people what they want, the fans what they want, businesses what they want, and sponsors. So it's pretty straightforward, really. I just think people haven't been brave enough to kind of say, we're going to open this up to you. We've got a fantastic brand. We'll hang it all around there, and we want to re-engage with you. And people are going, well, okay then, as long as I get something back for it, and that's what we want to do.
Well, this young lady who's now your chief exec, you know her well, associated with Stobart and also with some big companies as well. What's happened behind the scenes now with your marketing, as Ray touched on, and also the business acumen? She's
very, very bright, and again, she's not from a rugby background, which I think isn't necessarily a bad thing. She understands how to connect with businesses. She understands stakeholders in general, that it's a much bigger organisation than the fans who turn up. We're looking to engage the whole of the business community, both locally, regionally. We've got a fabulous product to sell with really good values. And the demographics, she understands how she might deliver that through. We had a business breakfast a couple of weeks ago with maybe 60 companies represented, and they went away with very, very positive feedback. I couldn't be any more relaxed about this process now. I've kept in touch with Rugby League all the way through. I know that we've met all of their criteria, and I'm absolutely certain ours is the most sustainable business plan that they'll receive. It's not just about an application. That document that's took 2 years to deliver and collate is our business plan. That's our business blueprint going forward, and it shows we've got targets that we have to hit in there. It's not about arriving at Super League and making up the numbers. You know, we're in there to sort of mix it, and that's